Dear students, in this session we will discuss the use of Harrod Domar model in planning. Harrod Domar growth model was extensively used by the planners of developing countries. As we have discussed in the previous sessions, Harrod Domar model can be used to understand the development problems of underdeveloped countries that we have discussed extensively in the previous class. So the framework, that is the framework of the Harrod Domar model with some modifications can be used to explain the development issues of underdeveloped countries and also can be used for solving some of the development issues of underdeveloped countries. Now let us see how Harrod Domar model is used by planners of underdeveloped countries, and we will explain this in the context of Indian plan models in a later class. So, in order to explain the use of Harrod Domar model, suppose that start with the fundamental equation GA is equal to S by V. Actual growth rate is equal to the ratio of S by Y divided by I by delta Y, incremental capital output ratio. S is equal to S by Y is also equal to delta S by delta Y. V is equal to delta K by delta Y is equal to I by delta Y. And actual growth vary directly with S, inversely with V. For planning purposes, we slightly rewrite it as GA bar. We slightly rewrite it as GA bar V hat is equal to S star. For planning purposes, we slightly rewrite this fundamental equation as GA V hat is equal to S star. Now, what is this GA bar? It is the targeted rate of growth fixed by the planning authority of the country. And what is V hat? V hat is the required capital output ratio. The required capital output ratio to attain the targeted growth rate. And what is S star? The required investment rate. So for planning purposes, this equation is written as GA bar into V hat is equal to S star, targeted growth rate, required capital output ratio, and required saving or investment ratio. Suppose that the targeted rate of growth is 5%. The targeted growth rate fixed by the planners is 5%. And also assume that this incremental capital output ratio is 3:1. That is 2 unit of capital is required to produce 1 unit of output. Then the country should save and invest 10% of its national income to achieve the targeted growth rate. So if the targeted growth rate is 5%, incremental capital output ratio is estimated as 2:1, 2 units of capital to produce 1 unit of output. Then a saving investment ratio of 10% is required to achieve the targeted growth rate. If the level of national income in the initial year is rupees say 2000 crores, then the amount of investment required in the initial year, that is 10%, saving and investment is 200. 10% of GNB is required to achieve the targeted growth rate of 5%. And in the underdeveloped countries, targeted growth rate is fixed by the planners. Incremental capital output ratio is calculated on the basis of actual data. Then the saving investment requirement can easily be determined, as this example shows. Now, the Harrod Domar model can also be used to determine the amount of foreign resources required to attain the targeted growth. Suppose that saving or investment rate is less than 10%. Saving or investment rate is less than 10% of GDP. That means the domestic investment is not sufficient to achieve a growth rate of 5%. So there is a saving investment gap, I minus S. There is a saving investment gap. 10% investment is required. Saving is only say 8% or something. So there is a saving investment gap. So the rate of aggregate investment is determined by domestic savings and also foreign savings. And IT can be written as equal to saving domestic at time t plus saving foreign at time t. Investment is equal to SD, domestic savings at t, and SF, foreign saving at t. And the foreign saving is indicated by the import surplus, that is the difference between the value of imports and exports, and it will be reflected as what is known as balance of payment deficit in the current account. And this follows directly from the national income identity, that is YT is equal to something which is familiar to us. YT is equal to CT plus IT plus ET minus MT. YT is equal to CT plus IT plus export minus import, and can be rearranged as IT is equal to YT minus CT. YT minus CT plus MT minus ET. YT minus IT is equal to YT minus CT plus MT minus ET. And what is this YT minus CT? It is the domestic savings. And what is MT minus ET? It is the foreign savings, that is import minus exports, that is the foreign savings. Now, this equation can also be written as IT by YT is equal to YT minus CT is domestic saving at T, that is the domestic saving rate, plus SFT by YT. That is the same equation that we have considered in growth form. That is S is equal to SD plus SF. Saving is equal to, or investment is equal to, domestic plus foreign. Domestic saving rate plus foreign saving rate. So using this, we can write S star minus SD bar is equal to SF, where S star is equal to the actual savings, that is the required savings that we have derived earlier. This is the maximum domestic savings. Required savings at 10%, maximum domestic is equal to 10%, then saving, foreign saving is 2%. So S star minus SD bar is equal to what is known as S foreign at star. Can be written like this. So Harrod Domar model can be used not only to determine the domestic saving and investment, it can also be used to determine the foreign savings or foreign resources, provided that domestic saving is not sufficient. Domestic saving is not sufficient. And S star minus SD bar is equal to SF star. That is, S star is the saving or investment requirement, SD is maximum domestic savings, that is, the difference is SF star, the foreign savings required. And we can write this equation also as GA bar into V hat minus SD is equal to SF star. So Harrod Domar growth model, even though it is not considered as a growth model now, but it has been used in different perspectives that we will discuss when we study endogenous growth, AK model, etc. It has been extensively used by planners due to its simplicity. It can be used to calculate domestic saving required to attain targeted growth rate given the capital output ratio. It can also be used to calculate the foreign savings, foreign resources required to attain a given growth target. And that is all about Harrod Domar growth model.